I'm Allie. Join me as I show you how to do a woven design or a back and forth design featuring some Czech glass, some pearls, and some crystals. Remember, if you need any materials, go ahead and look below the video in the description. We'll put links there to get back to the website so you can check out lots and lots of supply options and get the colors you want. Gather up your materials and let's get started. We're going to be using 11/0 seed beads, 8mm beads, and 4mm beads. I'm choosing to use two different colors of 4s, but I also want to show you that you can do this variety with 6s, with tubelets, and really have fun changing up that middle bead, and it'll just change the count. The first thing we're going to do is put a stop bead, a bead that is going to come off of our project onto our size 8 dragon thread. I'm using the thickest size of dragon thread because I'm not actually going through the beads at many times and I want that curvature to be maintained. We're going to be using an infinite clasp here, and I'm going to attach that after the fact. So I want to leave enough on the end of my thread here after that stop bead that I can put a needle on the other side and attach the clasp, so about 12 inches for me to feel confident with that. Take the needle and thread through that seed bead once and twice. And then we're going to put on our first bead. Our first bead is going to be one of our 4mm beads in the pearl. And that's going to be followed by one of our 8mm beads. Remember, you can do this with 6 or with 8. And now what we're going to do is wrap it around the project. To wrap around the project, I want you to do one more of your size 4mm bead in the pearl color. And then we're going to do a loop of the 4mm in the crystal for a little bling on the outside. They're going to start with one of our 11/0s going in between a total of 3 of our 4mm crystals. And we're going to start and end with that 11/0. From here, we're going to go back through our starting 3 beads. So we're going to go back through the 11, we're going to go back through the 8mm bead, and we're going to go back through the next 4mm bead. And that pulls that into that turn. From here, I want you to add your next 8mm bead and then that same rotation. 4mm bead goes on in that in the pearl color, and then we're going to put on 3 of our 4mm ground crystals in that topaz color here, along with an 11/0 between each one, and making sure that you're adding a total of 4 11s to your 3 crystals. From here, to keep it to the opposite side, we are going to go back through the 4mm bead before our second 8, as well as the first 4mm bead after that 8. And that is going to have that snaking the opposite direction. From here, we're just on repeat, going in and having that snaking effect between all of our beads. So this is not a new technique. You may have done it before, but I think sometimes it's nice to revisit some of these techniques just to show how quickly we can make a design. You probably already have an 8 and a 4mm on hand and ready to go, and a little 11/0 that you can use as a spacer. And this also is great for a lot of those Potomac picks that you might have that are those one-off beads that you have in your studio that you want to use, but you're not sure exactly how to use them, especially some of these bigger beads. You're just going to go back through that bead before, back through the 8, back through the bead after, and doing so and pulling it down and in place will keep it off to that opposite side. When you wear it, because of the way that we're doing this and going back through the beads, it is not going to turn, and it's not going to have that effect where both turn to one side. They're kind of forced to stay on the side that they are. So continue on, just making your bracelet longer, and then we are going to get ready at the end, and we'll show how to add your clasps. Once you're finished with the simple design, which is very quick, it only took me 20 minutes to do this, you are going to put on your clasp. Now you can use a variety of clasps. You can come back and do the stitch in an opposite direction and have it go the other way. You can really get creative with this, put an extra row of seed beads on the outside. I'm just going to add an 11/0, and I have my Potomac's infinite clasp, and I'm going to go up through that soldered end of the infinite clasps. I've glued in my cabochon there, and I'm going to go back through the bead and around that outer circle one more time to reinforce the thread going through. Now I will also do this going through here one more time, and then I'll take off the thread, the bead stop on the opposite end, and I will be doing the same thing. Whenever you do a clasp or closure, you want to make sure that you have at least 2 to 3 threads going through the loop at the end, because this is how you're taking it off and on. This is where you're getting the most hands holding it and pulling at it and kind of trying to push it down. So I always like at least 3, if I can, strands going through the end of that clasp, 2 at the minimum, especially with this thicker thread and cord. The nice thing with this bracelet is it doesn't have a top and a bottom. So on the other side, what I always suggest when you use a push clasp is to put that clasp closed and make sure when we attach to the other side, that's still drying, when we attach to the other side here, I want to make sure that my bracelet is laying nice and flat and doesn't have a twist in it, and that I go for the correct angle and the laying of that tongue on the opposite side. I'm going to put out that clasp at the opposite side. And then the nice thing is it's a fast bracelet. It can be even a necklace, and it's really one of those that you can use up a lot of your stash with. And with the 8s, it goes really, really quickly. Once again, you can also do this with 6mm. You can see I just took the 11 OC beads out of that and made a little bit more of that row. And I even did it with tubelets just to show kind of that straight and that rounded effect. So lots of different options that you can do, even coming back and maybe adding a couple beads on the interior of that as well. At the end of my bracelet here, I just took my thread back down and actually connected to the end that way. Did 2 loops through there and then brought both ends together and just tied a knot. I'll burn off those thread ends, and that finishes this beautiful bracelet. So simple, so easy. Can't wait to see all of your varieties in our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making. Thanks so much for joining me to make this woven glass bracelet. Remember, if you need any materials, go ahead and look below the video and you'll get links back to our website so you can pick out your own colors. Like I just said, I can't wait to see all of your designs in our Facebook group for beading and jewelry making. Don't forget to hit that little subscribe button so that way you don't miss anything from us here at Potomac Beads. Thanks so much for watching, and stay tuned for more inspirational designs.